Hi there. Are you like me? Have you dreamed of creating content for a long time, but you have been too scared to start? This fear to start could be a lot of different things, but especially if you want to create video content like here on YouTube, I think it often comes back to a fear of being seen. And I struggled with this fear a lot before I was able to start actually creating the content that I wanted to create. But I was able to work through my fears. And so in this video, I will explain to you how I did that in 6 main steps or sort of concepts that helped me to do this. And then if you stick around until the end, I will give you a free gift. So check that out. So if you're new here, my name is Rachel. I am a poet, botanist, witch, wild woman, ASM artist, and more. And I have been on an intentional healing journey since about 2020. Now, that might not sound very long because, it's 5 years, but to me, that's a long time because I'm not that old yet. And a lot has transformed and changed for me in those 5 years and is continuing to transform and change for me. So facing this fear of being seen is one of those things that I have been working on and that I have been able to at least mostly heal. Now, I won't lie to you, getting to where I was comfortable posting these videos and the content you now see on my channel was not a simple, easy trick and fix that just made it work. I wish I could tell you it was so easy and there was like one little thing you could do and it would just magically fix it, but that's not how life works, unfortunately. Because the truth is that nothing that involves facing deep fears and doing essentially shadow work is ever easy. That's just how it goes. But it is worthwhile. That being said, there may not be one quick, simple fix, but there are 6 main concepts that I have come up with that sort of distill the main things I was able to work through and concepts that help me to sort of think about things differently so that I was able to face my fear of being seen and create the content that I wanted to create. And I'm making this video because I want you to create the content that you want to create. What you want isn't random. What you long for longs for you. And we are all meant to follow our creative longings and put them out in the world. Sometimes we think it's selfish to just want to pursue things for our own interests, but I would argue it's actually selfish not to share your art, not to share your unique creative expressions, because you don't know when what you happen to want to say or put out in some way is exactly what someone else needs to hear, and you could drastically impact and change someone's life. Like for me, I know that some random posts or like newsletters from artists that I follow, artists and witches and etc. that I follow have really changed my life. Like sometimes like one concept in there has really struck me and it's like definitely been really transformational. Also, there's this quote by Martha Graham. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost. So don't lose it. Now, just a little caveat, I did start posting botany TikTok in like 2021, but this content, my ASMR content, was different. It's a lot more vulnerable for me to post these videos, and it feels a lot more like creative rather than just being like, here's a plant and some facts about it. And then also there's sort of more pressure on this channel. Well, there is more pressure because I do have a goal of eventually monetizing this channel, and being able to start making some money off of my creative passions so that I can, weave my life how I want it to go and make this life my own. Okay, so how did I overcome these fears and start posting this content? So the first step that I took was getting clear about what my fears actually are. Oftentimes we think we know what our fear is, but sometimes it can be a cover-up for another deeper fear that we don't feel that we're able to face. So it may be so deep down it's not even in our conscious awareness. And as Carl Jung says, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our lives and we will call it fate. Let's make our own fate instead, okay? We must be willing to investigate our fears and move through them. For example, if you're scared of, failing, but in posting videos on YouTube, for example, like maybe you're scared no one will watch your videos, you won't get any likes, etc., and maybe you think of that as failing. I would argue that's not failing. That's how we all start out. But anyway, that's beside the point. Think about what failing actually entails. What aspect of it scares you? Maybe it's not just the failure, but actually the potential judgment other people may have on your failure. So maybe you're scared of what other people will think. And that's your real fear. You're scared of what other people think of you. So for me, I'm always discovering new and surprising fears, not to brag. So this investigation is important. And in the case of my fear of being seen, well, I'm an Enneagram 1. Enneagram 1's biggest fear is basically that we are bad, wrong, irredeemably faulty in some way. So really all my fears are linked back to this one. So the fear of being seen is really a fear that other people will see me inevitably realize that I am obviously not good enough or not perfect, therefore bad. And so I was afraid that putting these videos I wanted to make out there would make me vulnerable to other people, seeing me and somehow condemning me for obviously not being good enough. Yes, I'm still working on this fear, but I have come a very long way in my healing journey, and I am no longer scared of being seen like I used to. Case in point, talking about my greatest fear right now in this video I'm posting publicly on YouTube. This would have seemed impossible to me not that long ago. So after I brought my fears to conscious awareness, the second step is saying, okay, so I know I have this fear, but what will I do with it? How do I choose to respond to it? Ask yourself, do I choose to live a life controlled by fear, or do I choose to make this life my own? Does it hurt more to create or to not create? I really like Nicole Sachs. The Cure for Chronic Pain is her whole work, but she says, it's not a choice between what hurts and what doesn't hurt. It's a choice between what hurts and what hurts less, or, hurts more and hurts less. So does it hurt more to create or not create? Does it hurt more to be trapped and controlled by fear, or to move through that fear despite the discomfort and do what you're gonna do? Is it offensive to your soul to imagine not putting your creations out there? Do you really want to look back at your life when you're old, at the end of your life, and see all the ways that you let your fear control you and keep you small and stuck? I would guess you probably don't want that. People tend to have more regret for the things they did not do, not the things they did do. Also recognize fear has a purpose, which is to distract you from doing the things you want to do because they seem too hard or scary somehow. Ultimately, your fears are irrelevant. It is just your nervous system, which evolved under completely different circumstances to modern life, trying to keep you safe and keep you stuck in your comfort zone because that's where you're probably not going to die. But life doesn't happen in the comfort zone. The comfort zone is where life stagnates. And if anything, your fears are a sign that you are on the right track. Because if you never feel any fear and you always feel comfortable, then that means you're staying in your comfort zone. And we are meant to stretch and grow. As I said, your comfort zone is not where life happens. You can say, thank you, fear, for your input. However, I am not going to do things that way. I have a different way of doing things that I choose to do instead. Or what I will say when I suddenly get caught up in a fear spiral is, that is not real. It's literally not real. It's just your mind hallucinating. It is irrelevant. It is a distraction from your purpose. And we witches reject that. Okay, so the third concept that really helped me in overcoming my fear of being seen is asking myself, okay, so what's the worst that could happen? If you can imagine the worst possible outcome and figure out how you could handle that outcome, then what's left to fear? And this worst case scenario you're imagining rarely ever does actually come true. Now, if you are like me with an overactive nervous system, prone to panic and anxiety, you may do this exercise but still feel like you couldn't survive the worst case scenario. And it may feel like this worst case scenario would kill you and you would die. And it's not because the external events that would happen would actually be your death. It's more just a feeling that you would die. This is because part of you believes that your emotions will kill you. We are never really afraid of the external events. We are afraid of how we will feel about the external events, afraid that the emotions that came with these situations and events would simply be too much for us to bear. There's a feeling that it will kill you. But if we actually just practice feeling these emotions by focusing on the sensation in your body without attaching any thought or story, then it passes in 90 seconds. And practicing this demonstrates to us that no matter what difficult, uncomfortable emotions we have that we feel in our body, we actually can handle them. We have handled them before and we can handle them again. We may not like it, but we can handle it and it certainly will not kill us. And if we can handle the worst and the emotions that come with the worst, then there's nothing left to fear. So the next step, number 4, and this is very important, is to remember that it's not that serious. It's not that serious. In fact, nothing ever is. I believe, like many spiritual traditions essentially say, that we are just consciousness playing with itself in human form, and we're all essentially connected and one and not separate, then things don't sound that serious. We are divine consciousness here in human form to have a human life. That means parts of us, at least parts of us, are infinitely curious about every single aspect of the human experience, including aspects that may seem negative or bad. If things go badly with your goals or your life in general, negative things happen, that's still a valid experience to have. That is part of the human experience. It's not a wrong or bad experience to have. We all have them. And part of you, if you believe the work of existential kink, which has been very helpful for me, I mentioned this book in another of my videos too, because it's like literally rewiring my brain. If you believe these concepts, that there's a part of us that is capable of even enjoying negative experiences, and that you're just in full acceptance of them without needing to add your suffering on top of it because you're resisting it. If you allow yourself to see things like this differently, then you can start to see everything as fulfillment, not just the good things. Also, as Carolyn Elliott says in Existential Kink, there's never any reason to do anything. The only real reason to ever do anything is that we have a desire to do it. So you don't need to justify it or explain why you want to post or why it's okay for you to post. Just own that you want to. I creating this content because I want to, and I'm a nasty little freak like that. If that doesn't quite jive with you, imagine putting it in perspective another way. You are a being made up of atoms, mostly bacteria more than human. More of a collection of events, if you believe quantum physics, than an actual thing even. Perception of the world is not real, but it's just one perception of reality, which is sort of a blurring of how things actually are. This is just how our limited human perception works. For example, you can't see your atoms or bacteria in and throughout your body unless you have special equipment, but our perception does not allow us to see these things. We only see things at a certain level of reality. You're a collection of atoms living on a giant, humming, erotic rock hurtling through space. Why are you worried again? Okay, so part 5 is related somewhat to part 1 about investigating our fears. Like I said, if you're afraid of being seen, then you're probably afraid, or you may be afraid of what others think of you. But why are you scared of what others would think of you? Maybe because, like I said in part 3, that you are afraid you couldn't handle the emotions that would come along with the experience of others judging you. Again, if you can handle the emotions, then you can handle other people having opinions. Another aspect of this is that we're really only afraid of what others think of us if we are afraid of what we think of us. I was doing the work of Byron Katie, which part of it involves basically you have a thought and then you try some reversals of the thought. So I was doing this work and I was thinking, I'm scared of what others, the thought was, I'm scared of what others think of me. And I reversed it. One of the reversals was, I'm scared of what I think of me. Because if I have a firm, loving, kind, positive self-concept, then it doesn't really matter what others think of me. If others have a more negative opinion of me, sure, that could be hurtful or unpleasant, uncomfortable to know, but ultimately I know they're wrong because I trust deep down that I like me. But if I don't have a positive, secure self-concept, then I'm afraid others' negative opinion of me is proof that I am bad or not good enough in some way. And then it can feel like their opinion is a literal threat to me. I can feel like I can't stand to hear negative opinions because it's all confirmation of proof that I'm not good enough. So the work here is to heal the parts of yourself that need tending that carry these negative beliefs. Work on being kind and compassionate to yourself and changing these beliefs. And changing your perspective on yourself towards eventually becoming a lot more secure and loving and kind. To come to truly believe that you are good enough, you are worthy of love, you're a flawed human like everyone else, but that's not proof you're bad, it's just proof you're human. And I'm saying this to myself also. Then, even if everything goes terribly wrong and people have very negative opinions of you, it's okay because you got your own back. Basically, this work is to ultimately free yourself of shame, and that is hard, let me tell you. I haven't accomplished it yet, but I have come a long way towards being a lot more free of shame than I used to be. And as you go, it gets easier because you're more able to shift your perspective and see how your old beliefs are not true. Okay, the last one, and it's very important, is to let go of perfectionism. Now, I've seen a lot of other videos where creators talk about, how to get started with your YouTube channel and stuff, and they pretty much all mention don't let perfectionism hold you back. But most of them do not go super deep on this topic. For me, perfectionism is my ultimate struggle. I'm intimately familiar with it. So let's dive a little deep, shall we? Let me be clear. Perfectionism is self-hatred. Perfectionism is self-hatred. It is shame. It is self-abandonment. It is a white supremacist capitalist ideology that has no use and is ultimately irrelevant and false. It is only a device to keep you stuck in toxic patterns that unhealed parts of you think are safe, but are actually only causing you suffering and keeping you stuck. They distract you from living your real purpose and from being free. Don't we all want to be free? There is a difference between wanting to do well and be excellent and make good work and stuff, and perfectionism. Perfectionism is like, if I don't get this perfect, then I am not safe because I'm bad, basically. So you must learn to be okay with people seeing you experiment and fail in real time and try things out. You will learn and get better as you go. If you're only okay with being seen and people seeing you when you are being perfect, then you're not okay with being seen because it is impossible to be perfect. So many people are afraid of being seen as cringe, and I used to be like this. It's still kind of hard, but I have come to learn that ultimately being cringe is being free. Because someone is always going to think that what you're doing is cringe. I'm sure someone thinks me making this video, me making ASMR videos is cringe and weird. So the more that you let the fear of being cringe stop you, you're just letting other people's real or fake potential opinions of you stop you. And that's insane. Don't do that. You gotta live your life. Okay, so to sum up real quick, number 1, get clear about what your fears are. Number 2, ask yourself, do I choose to live a life controlled by fear, or do I choose to be free? Number 3, what's the worst that can happen? Show yourself you could handle the situation and the emotions that come along with it. Number 4, remember, it's not that serious. Nothing ever is. Put it in perspective. Number 5, build up self-compassion and a positive, loving, kind self-concept so that you stand on a firm foundation, and even if things go wrong, you got you. Number 6, let yourself fail, experiment, learn, and accept that being cringe is being free. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope that the concepts in here will help you to face your fears, and I hope you found some helpful tips in here. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or want me to elaborate further on any of the concepts I discussed in another video. As promised, I have a free gift for you, so the link will be in the description, but head over to my Substack, High Desert Witch. As I said, the link is in the description, and it's also in my bio on my channel. Subscribe for free, and you will get a welcome email that has a download link for a free ASMR style meditation that will not only give you plenty of tingles, but will also help you to start facing and healing your fears. If you only want the free meditation, you can also unsubscribe at any time. But I wouldn't recommend it because I am starting a newsletter, which will be about monthly, with a lot of information and fun stuff in there that I think you'll enjoy, such as tarot card pulls of the month, themes of the month or channeled messages of the month, book recommendations, nature photos, advice from plants, witchy tips, spells, poetry, and much more. And it's free. Now, I have not yet released the first issue of this newsletter. It will be coming out around the end of the year, beginning of next year. So when you go to the High Desert Witch Substack, for now it just says coming soon, but just know that soon there will be the first issue of the newsletter. So you might want to subscribe for the newsletter and or the free meditation. Okay. So go claim that and go out there, release perfectionism, release shame, learn to love yourself, and start creating in the messy middle, because that's what people are actually interested in anyway. I love you and I believe in you. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.